Cowboys training camp is roughly a month away, a little bit less. The exact schedule actually just came out. And if you want in-depth Cowboys training camp coverage from us here at the Cowboys Report, show it by liking this video right now. I assume you do, but you know what happens when you assume. So help make sure that my assumption is correct by liking today's video right now. We're taking a look at 10 players on the roster bubble for the Cowboys today, offense and on defense, focusing on more of the notable names because nobody cares if the third string, fourth string UDFA at receiver gets cut because, you know, no one's heard of them. First up, a player who has made the roster in the past, Rico Dowdle, the running back. This is one we mentioned when ESPN left him off the 53-man roster projection. I like him. He has flashed more in the preseason, offers some kick return value if you need him to, but he missed last year due to a hip injury, and he had the knee scope this year. That makes it a little bit tricky. His very limited time in an actual game setting, 7 carries, 24 yards, touchdown. Tough to make a real sample size on 7 carries, but it's a name to keep an eye on given the Cowboys, it seems, are quite high on not just Jaquan Hardy, but also Malik Davis, who they added as a UDFA out of Florida, brought him in for a pre-draft visit even. So keep an eye on Dowdle, and if he can get going in camp, or if he's not going in camp. If he's missing time, that hurts him. Next up is Ryan Nall, and I'm going to label him as HB as opposed to running back or fullback. He's a halfback, H-back, because I don't know what he does. For this team. Maybe he's going to be with Nick Ralston, but he's not really a full-fledged running back. He's not really a full-fledged fullback. He's just kind of a special teamer type of guy. Now, he's signed in free agency, and I have not actually seen the guaranteed amount. I don't know if there even is any, but it appears it was for the vet minimum with probably very little guaranteed. And given the fact that he's done nothing in his NFL career, maybe that's not a huge surprise. 9 catches, 71 yards. He fits kind of that fullback tight end blend that I think Mike McCarthy likes a decent amount. But if he makes the team, it's probably going to be over Nick Ralston and not that impactful. But because he was one of, double checks notes, 3 total free agents outside of the organization that the team signed, I did want to make sure that we put him on there. So name a player who you guys want to cut. Is it Rico Dowdle or Ryan Nall? Make sure it is a noteworthy player. Drop that name for me in the comment section. This one is notable. Simi Fehoko, the 5th-round pick out of Stanford last year, who made no impact on the team as he was in a redshirt season. He is going to have to earn his roster spot this year. Even in the event that, let's say, Michael Gallup misses time and is placed on the PUP list to begin the season, the Cowboys have competition at wide receiver. They've got CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert. With Washington's contract being fully guaranteed, I think he's going to make the team. Noah Brown, Vasher, Dennis Houston has flashed. Other UDFAs of note. Fehoko has to earn that spot. I think he can. But there is a scenario in which it comes down to Fehoko and Vasher, especially if the Cowboys feel like they need Noah Brown for special teams. Vasher and Fehoko haven't done special team stuff so far. So I wanted to focus on Fehoko among Vasher, and Noah Brown is also in this conversation as a possible notable cut. But pick a receiver. Who would you rather have on the Cowboys roster if you had to keep one? TJ for TJ Vasher, SF for Simi Fehoko. This is the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad break comes on YouTube, perfect timing. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Josh Ball is next up here. This is not someone I thought we'd be talking about after a year as being on the roster bubble. There's been some good insight from Bobby Belt and Brian Broaddus about where he's at, and it's not good. Apparently, the weight room habits have not been great. He had, in theory, a chance last year to reshape his body. Sounds like that hasn't happened. And the practice performances have also not been great. That's troubling for a 4th-round pick with off-the-field concerns. If the Cowboys think Matt Let's-Go can be a swing or at least a backup option at tackle, and they feel good about Tyler Smith, I could see a scenario in which Ball gets cut. I still think he makes the team. I think he's on the right side of the roster bubble, but I don't like hearing the negative things about a 4th-round pick already. So of the two options, what do you think will happen with Josh Ball this year? Type M for he makes the roster, or type C for he gets cut. Make your predictions for me in the comments section. What will happen with Josh Ball this upcoming season? Trysten Hill, as we move to defense now. This one makes a lot of sense, right? Former 2nd-round pick has not remotely lived up to expectations. He has been a colossal disappointment so far. The cap savings, if traded or cut, you save $1.16 million. That is a significant-ish amount of money, and it would be cutting your losses at this point of you just haven't gotten remotely what you wanted. 18 career games over 3 years. He's got 2 tackles for loss and a half sack. That ain't good. It's not good. And you've got Osa Odigizua, Neville Gallimore, Carlos Watkins. Get to him in a second. Quinton Bohanna and John Ridgway. And I think you might see more than even I initially thought of Chauncey Golston at the defensive tackle spot. And that's a 3 technique. And you've got Osa and Gallimore who can play that role. You're not going to carry 4 of those players if you make Golston a full-time spot there, or at least a hybrid main-time spot there. So what would you do with Trysten Hill? Type K for keep, or you can type in D for dump. While you're down there in the comments section answering that question, make sure you click the link to our Rumble page, rumble.com/CowboysTV. We are also on Rumble. If you want to be able to play our videos kind of more podcast style in the background, audio only, and do other stuff on your phone, you can do that on Rumble. Give us a follow for free, rumble.com/CowboysTV. Carlos Watkins, next up here, the defensive tackle, who I do think makes this team. But the Cowboys have not locked him in for a roster. He's on the right side of the bubble. He says he was a solid rotation piece this past year, defensive tackle, exceeded my own expectations for him. But only $152,000 of his over $1 million deal is guaranteed. That contract is indicative of someone who has to earn his spot again. Watkins played better than what I thought he was going to last year. But if Trysten Hill balls out, if you feel great about Ridgway and Bohanna this year, I could see Dallas going, you know what? We can just move on from Watkins and focus on the youth instead. I think he makes the team. And I think he makes it over Trysten Hill too. But if you could only pick one to keep, who would it be? Type CW for Carlos Watkins or TH for Trysten Hill. The big splashy free agent signing, Dante Fowler? Yes, he is on here. And again, a big reason why is the contract. Unlike the fully guaranteed deal for James Washington, Dante Fowler is not guaranteed that much money. Now, he could very well fight for a starting spot, but only $1 million of his $2.91 million deal, which is what is going to count the cap right now, is guaranteed. So that is a cuttable contract. Well, the things that would have to happen is Lawrence balls out. He's healthy. Dorrance Armstrong steps up. Sam Williams looks great. Golston plays some edge. You want to use Parsons as a hybrid player, and you decide, you know what, maybe Basham's our guy, or you go light at defensive end. It also depends on which Dante Fowler you get. The Jags 2017, pretty good. Rams 2019, really good. Rest of his career, those other 4 seasons, not that great, Jim. So because of that, you have to wait and see which Dante Fowler you get. His contract does not promise him a spot. Now, I know the offseason is very much slowing down, but we are not. We're still doing daily Dallas Cowboys videos, so if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe right now. Another defensive end here, Tarell Basham, and this one is maybe the one I feel most confident saying he ain't going to make this team. He is a backup option at defensive end, and you can save over half of his $3 million that's due on the salary cap this year. You save $1.75 million, you cut and you move on. Makes some sense, doesn't it? Because Basham's upside is capped. You know, on a good year, he'll get you 4 or 5 sacks. Like, that's not valuable enough when you're just looking for a replacement level type of player. And at this point, I kind of think we can safely say that is what Tarell Basham is. So hypothetically, if it comes down to these two guys, pick one to keep. Type in DF for Dante Fowler or TB for Tarell Basham. I'm keeping Fowler, but we're a show for the people. So I want to hear from you guys right now in the comment section. Next up, cornerback Nahshon Wright. And I am, to be honest, surprised that I am including him on here because I am not out on him already as a, former third-round pick. But The Athletic put Nahshon Wright in a roster bubble battle at the cornerback spot, and my boy John doesn't miss very often, if ever, so I think we have to include him on here, even though I think he makes the team. Third-round pick from a year ago. Historically speaking, the Cowboys do not often give up on draft picks that early. Now, I know they like Deron Bland. I want to hype him up a little bit. They've got Kelvin Joseph, Jordan Lewis, Anthony Brown, and, of course, Trayvon Diggs. They could go 6 deep at corner. I would be surprised and troubled if they cut Nahshon Wright because that was the Dan Quinn pick, and I don't want him to be wrong on that one. Finally, safety Israel Mukuamu, who, again, I like the player. He was really good in the preseason relative to expectations, a player that I actually had graded higher than I had Nahshon Wright graded when he came out. But for the first time ever, the Cowboys have real depth at safety. They go deeper than what they normally go, and that's a big deal at the safety position, unlike, say, linebacker with just Jabril Cox from that depth perspective. You've got Jaron Kearse. You've got Malik Hooker. Donovan Wilson, we thought last year he was going to be safety one. Now look at where they're at. You've also got UDFAs I like. Marquise Bell, I am hyped about him. Wanye Thomas offers some good ability and even some special teams value. Tyler Coyle, he might make some plays for you. So because of that, depending on how deep you go at like corner, for a player that doesn't offer you special teams value right now, you got to earn that spot if you are Mukuamu.